Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Gadfly. I'm your host, David Rich, on with a recurring guest and friend of mine, Lilith Silvercrow. Lilith, how are you?
I am doing fabulous, actually. Thank you so much for having me back. I love being here.
Absolutely, and I love having you here. So we our first encounter was on a radio show that I had before, and then you were on this show once before, and you're going to just keep coming on the show because our conversations are far too interesting to not perpetuate them.
They're so we have like the most juiciest conversations. That's why I love coming back to talk to you.
Well, good. That's great. Thank you. And again, I love the hair. Tell everybody about what you just told me because that's
Thank you so much. So my hair, my natural hair is super long and super curly, and it takes me about like 14 hours to.
She does it herself.
I do it myself. Yeah, I always do it myself. It's my signature style, having different color braids. I love it.
No, I love it. I love purple. And I actually was talking to the astrologer Anne, who I had on last week. Her hair was dyed a bit purple too.
Yeah,
it's like my favorite. Yeah, it was really cool. It's like one of my favorite colors for sure. Purple and green probably. And I can't pull it off wearing it. It just doesn't work on me. I've tried before, but I first of all, I love Prince. And, the purple one. And so purple actually has a deeper meaning to me than just being a color that I go, oh, pretty. It actually reminds me of somebody whom I adore and cherish.
I should have worn my Prince hoodie for this interview. I almost want to put it on. Do you want me to put on my Prince hoodie for you?
if it's accessible. But let's get into the interview a little bit to give them something to sink their teeth into. Well, I want to talk about tarot, NLP, and the solstice today for the main things. We can go off on tangents and talk about whatever we want. Lilith Silvercrow, pagan witch, amongst other things. But talk to me about your spiritual center. I don't want to be too redundant. I know that every show that you've had you on before, you've talked about how you came to this place. We don't have to go that far back this time. But talk to us just about your what does it mean that you're a pagan witch? What does that mean?
I'm a pagan, so I kind of follow the wheel of the year. Although this year hasn't been as consistent as previous years. This year I've been a little bit lenient on celebrating the wheel of the year, and I've really just kind of followed the seasons and followed the moon tides and everything like that. So I've done a lot of full moon rituals, the spots. And actually this Yule was kind of awesome because, when you're a solitary, you tend to do a lot of things alone, right?
That's what it means.
Solitary.
By yourself.
For this particular winter solstice, it was awesome. I had the most awesome day ever by myself. I mean, I did go visit a witch friend of mine, but for me, it was really important for me to get down my values and my goals and the things that I wanted to accomplish for the new year. I did have like a ritual, like fire burning in my cauldron, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I made myself a ridiculously delicious dinner for no freaking reason. I mean, but
deliciousness is a reason.
But like a lot of pagan celebrations are about like feasting and joy and all that stuff like that.
A lot of times it's the harvest. I mean, it's centered around food, literally.
Exactly, it's centered around like food and partying and the new year coming in. Although I do celebrate more of the new year on Samhain. October 31st, because to me that's the witch's new year, and that's when the veils are thin, lots of spirit communication, but I talk to them anyway on a daily basis. So it's just easier, I think, on Samhain.
No, some days of the year, the veil's a bit thinner. That's
right.
What they say.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. Well, very cool. And so this year you visited a witch friend of yours down there in the Midwest?
Yeah. Well, no, actually I didn't leave. So I have a friend of mine who I trained as a priestess. She actually lives here in Ohio now. She just moved into her own place and with her and her children and everything. And I went to go visit her, and she is an amazing witch. She's really cool. Nice. And we just kind of hung out that day. Like, we're going to do like a Yule celebration a little bit later. I think a really good time to do it is like New Year's. Because honestly, see, I'm not Wiccan, like I'm pagan. So Wiccans really are very strict about like the wheel of the year and like all the traditions and things like that. Like I'm traditional to a point, but I'm more eclectic than anything. So uh there's one main fact about like the Sabbats, like nobody actually knows like how like there's no agreeable information on the Sabbats. Like there's a lot of different ideas. Like there's one actual idea for each Sabbat that resonates, but then everybody has their own rituals and has branched off into different like eclectic styles and traditions depending on where you're from. So
Sure.
like if you're like in the other hemisphere, like you celebrate different times, different, different ways and things like that. So in all honesty, like for me, I typically celebrate like whatever comes to mind. Like I'm very intuitive about how I celebrate. Like I have the basis of what I want to do down, but like as for traditional like Wiccan will of the year, follow this, follow that, I really don't do that much of that
Okay.
at all, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense, and that's part of being a solitary practitioner as well. Is you kind of make everything happen, according to your own pace and your own way, without breaking outside the traditions, completely.
Right. I try not to break out the traditions at all. I still do a lot of the stuff. Like I still cast my circle. I still call in, the gods and goddesses. I still call in watchtowers.
Right.
I still light my candles.
It needs to be pagan in one way or another.
Right.
Right.
I still have like that I do. I mean, but like I spent more time with gratitude this year and like looking over my year of what I accomplished and the things that I do want to accomplish going forward.
That's very cool. Yeah, and just so folks know, Wicca is a very specific religion. It is a pagan religion, but not all Wiccans are pagan, but not all pagans are Wiccan. To use a little Venn diagram logic stuff. Exactly. But it's very specific, and it came from England in like the 40s, 50s, I think. Gardner was one of them, and there's another one. I think we did this before, but I couldn't remember the other. There were two main streams.
So Gardner, he was the one in England, and then we had Raymond Buckland, who actually brought it.
Buckland.
Yeah, I'm a little obsessed with Raymond Buckland.
Oh no, he's a very iconic author and pagan within the community. Absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah,
he put out a very famous book. What's his book? Tell me his book.
Which one? The big blue one?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's the big blue book of witchcraft. I don't know what it's called, but that's what I call it.
Yes, no, that's exactly it. It's a big blue Raymond Buckland.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Did I tell you that there was a Raymond Buckland museum here?
I don't recall that. So.
Oh my God, I never told you. So
is he from there?
Well, he lived here for a while, apparently. No, I don't think he's from here. I don't remember what the history is, but I do know that him and his wife like lived out here for a while. Like they had like some kind of acreage or whatever. And there is a Raymond Buckland museum. It's like in Cleveland. And I actually got to go last year. I need to go back because it's amazing. And they take you through this tour, and then there's just like this power circle in the middle. Like Ohio's wicked. Like if you find time to come down here to come visit me,
I would love to. I don't even think I live that far away, but I certainly have never heard anybody describe Ohio as wicked.
I mean, there's stuff. Honestly, there's things that are, and I mean, wicked in a good way. Like,
no, I know you do. I know, but I mean, you don't think of like it's like saying, "Dude, Delaware is so exciting," and everybody's like, "No, it's not." That's just nobody says that.
Yeah,
it's good to hear. I would totally come visit you. I live in Illinois, so I'm not that far from you.
No, I drove down there not too long ago. I should have called you when I was down there.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Sorry.
I failed. Real quick, everybody, if you want to, okay, somebody just did. If you want to ask a question or make a comment, just on the right-hand side here is comments. So you can just go there and do something.
There we go.
Lou Bruno just said that he's got to remember that about Ohio, that it's actually an exciting place.
Yeah, there's a bunch of hidden gems in Ohio.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there, so like
I know, and I got to go visit that. So
I would totally go with you for that one.
All right,
maybe we can go to Prince's Museum in Minnesota too. Anyway, go ahead.
Nice. I'm down. I'll make sure to wear my hoodie.
I miss him. Anyway, okay, go ahead. Go on with you were talking about Ray Buckland Museum. What's it like in there?
So it's super small, and from what I understand, there's another Raymond Buckland museum somewhere, but
I have
yeah,
one where you can have two.
I know, right? But that's from what I understand. But like,
Yeah.
anyways, for some odd reason, like it's a very small, like there's a little shop when you walk in, and there is a guy who is so freaking knowledgeable. Like and I'm sure he does this over and over again, giving people tours of this like one huge room where they have everything, but they have like paraphernalia from, I mean, Doreen Virtue and like, yeah, we're talking like seriously old
Wow.
school stuff. They have like stuff from everywhere that Raymond Buckland has collected
That's so cool.
up there. Yeah, like the first tarot decks and like spoons that were actually bent by like people who had like telekinesis and
Really?
yeah, just like crazy stuff. I'm like, this is awesome. And the energy there, the power there is
I bet.
magnificent.
I bet.
I heard they also had done weddings there, like they did a ritual wedding there. They have like this power circle that you step in the middle, and it's almost like you're walking into a different dimension. When
I
you
love
step
that. No, I've experienced stuff like that within cast circles and stuff. Like you can
Yeah.
the feeling is tangible. The difference in it's which is a testament to how this is not
like you're
crap
talking
process.
about. There's stuff in there. Of course, there's stuff in there by like Scott Cunningham. There's stuff in there by like Janet and Stuart Farrar. There's like Doreen Virtue. We're talking about like original stuff. There's another lady, and I can't think of her name, but she is, oh God, what is her name? And I'll come back to it because I'll remember later.
Dion Fortune?
Yeah, Dion Fortune.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, and Doreen Valiente. That's who I was thinking about.
I don't think I know that one.
Doreen Valiente is the one who wrote The Charge of the Goddess.
Oh no. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So she, and I even think that there was like Raven Silverwolf had some stuff in there. So like a couple, but like mostly the old school witches were in there. So of course we had our Gerald Gardner stuff. We had some Aleister Crowley stuff in there. Yes, exactly. So it was pretty awesome. It was a really interesting experience. I went with a friend in the middle of COVID, you know. We had to keep our mask on 6 feet apart, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
That's great. That's I would love to visit that place. That'd be awesome.
You know, that big blue book, that his famous book that he wrote, his original notebook where his scribbles of writing that book is there.
Really?
His original handwritten notebook. It's like
for sale?
No, I wish it was. It's like on a green, like spiral notebook. I'm like, I do the best work in my spiral notebooks.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's very cool, and I love that kind of stuff. I used to collect like antique books and stuff as far back as I could go. Yeah. I remember I found one from like the early 1900s from a high school right by me, and inside of it was somebody's homework from back then.
Yeah,
and I was just like, wow, that is so cool, you know. I remember when I was living in Portland, I went to like the antique books area. It's all like enclosed in glass and everything. And I love
is that the one near like Cooch Street?
Yes, Powell's. Yes, Powell's bookstore. Yeah, you know. You're from there. I forgot.
I'm not from Oregon, but I lived in Oregon for like 6-7 years.
That's actually how we met, is through our mutual friends in Oregon.
Exactly.
Andy and Amanda.
I trained Amanda
right
when she was coming to my metaphysical shop when I had it.
Right. That's fantastic. I'm surprised we didn't meet then. Anyway, I found a book written by Lilith Levi, who it's a famous 1800s occultist, and he's kind of considered like one of the grandfathers of the reintroduction of occultism and witchcraft into modern Western society. Right? He's got a book on the history of magic and stuff like that. He was a big deal back in the day. Anyway, it was Aleister Crowley's copy of that book, and with his notes in the side and the margins. And I was like, oh my God, it was like $4,000.
Oh my God.
I grabbed my phone because I've never been interested in money.
Did you buy it?
I don't have any money. I have no money. I hate money. I think it's the dumbest thing ever.
Hey, you gotta watch what you say. Don't make me start about the don't say I hate money or I don't have money, because as soon as you say that, your I do's are the most important things that you can keep a track of. Like the moment you say,
I don't want any.
But I know, but then you'll always be broke forever.
But I live a very monkish lifestyle. That's okay by me.
You're okay with like,
yeah, I don't care.
Well, I mean, I understand if you don't want for anything, like you're like, I don't have money.
No. I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying that my point is I grabbed my phone, I texted my lawyer friend saying I need $4,000 right now. So I can buy this book. He's like, for what? And I told him, and obviously I wasn't expecting him to do it. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So it was all a joke.
I thought you called your lawyer friend to see if you could sue somebody for $4,000 to get the book.
I should. Powell's bookstore, you're either giving this to me or I'm suing you. For what? I don't know. I'll figure something out. No, I was just hitting him up for $4,000. Didn't work out. Anyway, we'll talk. No, I don't. If I don't. Money's weird. I study value. I literally have a degree in ethics and value and monetary value is not a real thing. It doesn't actually exist. It's all made up bullshit. It just drives me crazy how much it just controls the world and it's not even real. So anyway, I mean, if somebody wants to give me money, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I need a new car. So, yeah. So, I mean, I have a job. I actually have like 3 jobs. I mean, it's not like I sit around doing nothing. Anyway.
Jamaican.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I assure you.
You're all over the place.
I am all over the place. So let's, so speaking of Crowley and all that stuff, let's talk about tarot cards.
All right, let's do it.
You have like 8 bajillion tarot decks, including oracle decks as well, right?
Right behind me in that wonderful bookcase. Yes.
I thought I had a lot. I have like 20 something. You have like over 100.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm still collecting all of my tarot and oracle cards. But this whole entire bookcase plus the top of it is covered in them.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's your little tarot library.
Mm-hmm. For now, it's gonna get bigger.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm about ready to buy another deck myself. What got you interested in tarot?
So like years ago, I started with the Fairy Oracle deck. Did I ever show you that one, the Brian Froud one?
I'm very well aware of it.
Actually, let me just pull it out. So
yeah, do it. Right. And Brian Froud, in case anybody doesn't know who he is, give us the 2 other besides the Fairy. Yeah, no, it's a very famous Oracle deck, very famous. Brian Froud, besides making that very famous deck, is also famous for
Star Wars is Yoda. I think it's right.
I think it's Yoda,
right?
He and his wife made Yoda, and also I think he had something to do with the puppets or whatever in the Dark Crystal.
Yes, I think so.
I think that's him, which is just awesome. Brian Froud is an amazing human being, and his wife for sure. Yeah, the Fairy Oracle. So you found that.
Oh man, I've lost this deck. I don't think I've ever told this story, but I've lost this deck maybe 3 or 4 times.
Fairies are very mischievous.
And they keep coming back to me.
Yeah, let's see.
Like legit lost. Like I lost one and then someone gifted me another one, not knowing that this was the deck that I loved. And this was years ago. Like I think this came out in 2000, if I am correct.
Oh, really? I thought it was older than that, but okay.
I'm fairly sure it came out in 2000.
I mean 22 years. So okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's been years.
I keep thinking I'm younger than I am.
I got it the year that, so 20 years ago is when I got this deck. So I got it when it came out. It's still like brand new, but this is like my 3rd version of it. But anyways, I lost this book and then someone, am I right? Yes, 2000. I was correct.
Okay.
So that's when this came out. And a friend of mine actually bought me a deck to replace the one that I lost. I left it on the bus. And then it came back to me. And then something happened. I moved and then I lost it again. And then someone else gifted it to me. As a matter of fact, they gifted it to me because they couldn't read the cards. And then I moved again and somehow lost it again. This this is not the one I had in Oregon. Somehow when I moved up here or moved to Illinois from Oregon, I lost that deck. But this one I found in a bookstore. It was the only one left and it was brand new. So I've had this one for like 6 years now.
Okay. Well, there you go. The fairies finally gave and said, okay, we'll stick around.
So I'm hoping they stick around this time, but this is really my call into tarot and oracle. So this is the first deck I ever read, and this deck actually spoke to me. Like they would literally talk to me. I could hear them in my ears, and I could feel them in my body. My whole entire personality changes when I read these particular cards. I feel like I have sprites and fairies around me. It's really beautiful. I've always had that kind of connection with these particular cards. And so I was like, I'm never going to use another deck ever. I don't need to learn tarot. Like I was that person. And
an oracle elitist.
Yeah, I was totally like the fairies oracle is everything, you know, they talk to me. It's the only card deck that I ever like resonated with and all this stuff. And so finally I went to I opened up my shop. So this is like I open up my shop and I have all these tarot cards everywhere. And I was like looking, I'm trying to think of the order. I think my shop was first and then my shop was first and I was getting interested in other cards. So I was like, I had the Golden Tarot, which was another deck that I had by Cat Black. This deck right here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorites right here. This was the first tarot deck that I actually learned how to read. And it took me forever. Like it literally took me forever to read the cards. Like they were
literally took forever.
I would get so mad. Like my
why? What was it? Just so everybody knows real quick, the difference between oracles is oracles can be of whatever sort of like format, formula, logistics, schematics that the author wants it to be. Mm-hmm. Tarot is a very specific set of things. You have the 22 trump cards, also known as pips, or the major arcana, and then you have the minor arcana, which has aces, royal cards, and then 2 through 10 of each suit, of the 4 different suits. Right. Period. That's tarot. Oracles can be whatever, which is fine. That's not meant to be dismissive or anything. I'm just saying that there is a difference. So you understand that going from an oracle to a tarot deck, which is a very strict and rigid way of doing things, was that part of the obstacle of mastering it, or what do you think it was?
Oh my God. When I first picked up a tarot deck, I was like, what in the bloody, and it's not like I have the original tarot deck right in front of me. The original Rider-Waite.
Rider-Waite, yeah, that is
here. And I actually use this on my TikTok because we're doing Living the Tarot series. I just started so in order to teach the tarot, what I'm doing is I am taking a card every day and I am applying questions or things that a person should do with their lives based on the tarot so they can learn the meaning of the card and actually apply it practically so that they can remember what the cards mean. Right? So that just makes it easier. If someone would have taught me tarot this way, like when I was younger trying to learn this, like it would have stuck a lot quicker. So I came up with this idea. So every day I would live a tarot card. So, and I've been doing it with people, and I'm thinking about starting a YouTube series where I'm documenting the things that I actually went through when I started living the tarot. But the biggest hurdle I think for the tarot for me was the fact that number one, these are not typical tarot cards. I don't know if you can see that, but they're typical. We have some of the Rider-Waite symbolism, but they are not. And let me just go ahead and show that here. But they're not like the Rider-Waite. And when I looked at the Rider-Waite, I could not. I'm visual. Things have to be.
Oh, Rider-Waite is total Snoresville. Visually, there's no doubt. It is not a very visually attractive deck at all. It's very simple, and I think Waite did that on purpose. Right. The explosion of tarot decks from that, you got to give kudos to him because he kind of initiated the whole modern day tarot thing and really gave it to the Western world, or made it popular for the Western world. But yeah, no, for sure, I get it. That's one of the things I know we talked about Crowley and he's got some moral looseness that it might not be attractive to a lot of people, but that's one of the reasons I love his deck. Lady Frida Harris did the design of the deck, and it is so cool. Visually, it is so just stunning and gorgeous, and so much meaning in the symbolism. The Rider-Waite is just.
I know. I have a treat for you because I have some tarot cards that I'm sure you'd love to see. So I have the Tarot de Marseille.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, that's.
I have this.
Yeah, that's like probably one of the oldest versions of it.
This is not the original, but
of course not.
It's the best that I could do.
The original's in a museum.
Right, the original's in the museum. Isn't the original? These are kind of hard to read. But I mean, if you know the regular Rider-Waite, it's really not as hard as you think it might be. I have a few versions of like the original tarot. This one is done by Mary Packard. My biggest hurdle in tarot, I want to say, definitely has something to do with the fact that it wasn't visually pleasing to me because I was so used to this beautiful, like rich.
I know, right? Fairies and just magic, and
I was like, oh my God, it's so magical, right? But I was also younger too. I was just like, but they talked to me, and it was like the very first time I was really like. That's when my spirit communication like took off, is when I started reading the fairy oracle cards. It was like really, honestly, when I think about it, that's really when my psychic ability took off, is when I started reading the oracle cards.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's really interesting. Yeah, real quick, Crystal Larson is watching, and she said that was my mom's deck that I learned on. I'm not sure which one are you referring to, Crystal. Crystal's a friend of mine. She's been on my radio show. I love Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Yeah, she's great. But no, that's really, and that's an interesting point, is that tarot has for a great many people, and even myself, like ignited my pursuit of magic overall. When I first, I just sort of like heard some stuff, started hanging out with some people that were kind of just like vaguely into this stuff, and I bought Crowley's Thoth deck, and here I am 30 something years later.
Do you know
just all about it? It has defined my life. I mean, my degrees in college. I mean, everything is because of that deck. I'm not even lying. It's just so powerful.
I still have not bought the Thoth deck.
Okay, you have some hang-ups about it. That's cool. Crowley was a tough dude to understand. He did, like I said, he had a dark side. There's no doubt. But you would not have the revival of paganism and occultism in America and Europe without him. You wouldn't. He was just an absolutely iconic figure, and he was a brilliant, brilliant man. His poetry is unbelievable. His literature is unbelievable.
He was so brilliant that
he was, and his Thoth deck is amazing. He was definitely a weird dude. And it did some things that the French deck. Crystal Larson says the French deck, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So the Tarot de Marseille, and then I have the Visconti tarots over here too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's a good one. The Visconti here.
Good Italian tarot deck.
Beautiful.
Visconti's cool.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, Italians don't mess around.
Oh yeah. This that here, like the Visconti deck of tarot. This is just the most beautiful deck, and I am trying really hard not to use it because I want it like pristine and beautiful.
That's a thing. It's like, exactly. It's like, I have several decks that are still, they're not necessarily in the plastic wrap, but they're still, I haven't used them. I've never used them because they're just too gorgeous.
When I got them, it was the boxers ripped. So I feel a little fit. So I'm like, I think I might need to order another set and then just use this one. I think that's what I might end up doing.
That's not a bad idea.
I know.
I
just don't want to use it. But that was basically my hang up, is that, after coming from the beautiful fairy oracle, sitting down and looking at this.
Again.
Right? Yeah. So, but I learned to appreciate it as I went on. And really, I appreciated this deck so much because it has a lot of Christian undertones to it. So I thought it was
I could see that. When you were holding it up the last time, I saw something that looked like, this reminded me of a painting of a Christian saint.
I'm just going to show you the judgment card.
There you go. I mean, that's Jesus.
Literally the resurrection.
It's literally the resurrection.
It's literally the resurrection, guys, of Jesus Christ. Literally. But it's perfect because it's like the judgment card is all about that resurrection and rebuilding.
Christianity can be a very, very powerful spiritual system if you approach it a better way than what like mainstream evangelical weirdos do. First of all, you need to get rid of the literal historical crap, and if you consider it like an archetypal system, like all spiritual systems are supposed to be, that it's a very the Christ archetype, the Christ figure is very, very powerful when it comes to love and forgiveness, to redemption. Those three things alone are just very powerful concepts that the human condition absolutely needs in order to evolve and become better with one another. Love, forgiveness, and redemption. You're not getting rid of redemption, first of all.
Right.
And if you want to follow a very precise way of going a path of redemption, Christ's life is perfect.
Exactly. Exactly. So for me, that was my first kind of dip into the tarot, and I spent a lot of time learning these, and I meditated with them. I have a lot of notebooks where I would just write down the meanings of these cards and how they felt to me, and how I was experiencing my life every single day and things like that. So I figured that when I was doing my TikTok, I thought about it. I was like, why don't I take people through the same journey that I went through? And then I can go through that journey again and deepen my connection to my tarot cards, just deepen my connection to them, right? Because there's so much symbolism, like down to like, I love the High Priestess card. Like, it doesn't matter. I love the High Priestess card. I love what she stands for. And there's a lot of wisdom there. We have these two pillars, and that, I mean, just the symbolism alone on tarot cards is so deep and profound. And I didn't have appreciation for that when I started tarot. I was just like, okay, so whatever, right? I'm just like, okay, it's the High Priestess. She wants me to look inside of myself. Blah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Introspection, great, fantastic, and all.
Yeah. And I just didn't understand how deep and complex the tarot actually was. I didn't get it. The symbolism means everything. And the more that you sit with it, the more you find more symbolism that resonates with you, and you're able to take that into your actual daily life. And it's probably the most amazing thing that I've ever stumbled onto. I've been able to do so much stuff with my business, just pulling tarot cards. I've been able to, like, literally, honestly, if you just do what the tarot cards say, like, your life is going to be better. Like, period. Like, as long as you're not talking to someone who doesn't know how to read the cards properly, like, if you just do exactly what the cards say, you're going to have a really great life. And that's what I think about tarot. And
I love that you said that. The tarot system is a living spiritual system.
Right.
It exudes energy. And personality, and it is going to give you insight, and it is going to give you wisdom into your life, into the life of others, into objective reality. It is a map, if you will, of the universe, of reality, and the values and lessons there are very, very real, for sure.
Right, for sure.
Unlike money, tarot is real.
Just kidding. I think I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Tarot is very powerful, very, very, very powerful. I even got my buddy who's getting his PhD in physics who doesn't like any of this stuff, but he said he dated a lady that did tarot reads. He's like, that was extremely. He's like, it was interesting. He's like, it definitely gave me pause. I'll give you that much. I'm like, okay, Absolutely. I'll take that.
Absolutely. So for me, it's all about the symbolism. And then I am currently teaching a psychic development class, and then it was brought to my attention that I probably need to go ahead and add tarot into that. So as I'm like presenting tarot into TikTok, I'm actually writing it out as a course to add on to my psychic development course. So I was thinking, like, first and foremost, like, and we need to have a discussion about this, because I feel like everybody wants to gatekeep their like spirituality or spiritual path. And I'm just like, no. In order to actually navigate that spiritual path, you need to be psychic. Like, you need to understand what spirit is saying, right? You need to understand it. Like, I know that you are like, I'm not psychic. I just read cards. I'm intuitive, right? I think that what you don't understand is that you are naturally, innately psychic. Right? You are naturally psychic. Like, everybody is naturally psychic. Everyone has the ability to speak to spirit in some way, right?
Right.
And I feel like once you actually harness that, once you actually embody it and actually acknowledge it, then things get a lot easier when you're navigating like spiritual awakenings. It doesn't matter if you're going to witchcraft, it doesn't matter if you are going to, star seeds and, becoming a light worker or whatever. It doesn't matter what path you're going on. Like having that knowledge of how to speak to spirit, how to communicate with spirit, how to barter with spirit is very, very important.
No, and that's well said, and I agree with you. I guess I just kind of developed a greater comfort for the word intuition than I did psychic, and you're right. I mean, they're the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I just had this conversation like 3 weeks ago with my friend about this very issue about calling yourself psychic or intuitive, and I said to him like they're the same thing, and I get that, but for some reason, the word intuition just comes out of my mouth more comfortably than the word psychic. I think that there's some sort of like, I feel like this is like an expectation of like, oh, you're psychic, okay, am I going to win the lottery or something stupid like that?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Or like when I say I'm just what I can. Right.
You're like, oh, you're psychic? Well, tell me about my life right now. Like, I'm
exactly.
in the bar trying to have a drink, and I get my business card because they kept bothering me.
Yes, tell me what's going to happen in my near future. Your face is about to get drenched with whiskey, and you like just throw your whiskey on their face.
Absolutely not. I'm not wasting my whiskey on that.
Sorry, fine. Glass of water, whatever. That would be funny. That sounds like it should be a skit in like a pagan comedy or something. I
totally need that. Like the moment I say, like, oh, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a psychic and a spiritual coach. What? You're a psychic? Oh, can you tell me if my man is cheating on me? Like immediately. I mean, people don't even get to know me anymore.
Right, exactly.
Like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Can you tell me about my life? Like, it's really weird.
Right.
It is the strangest thing I've ever.
And I think it's that sort of conventional, like a perception or of psychic that makes me resistant to use the word for myself. But you're right. I mean, it is, and I've always had great success reading tarot cards.
And I can say this because I'm like a lesbian queer, right? So I think I can say this, right? So It's kind of like, and I say the word queer. I identify as queer, and like queer had a negative connotation for a very long time. And so did gay. Gay was like, if you're gay, you're like a fag or whatever. And
dude, that's so gay. Like that. Right? Like that.
People are owning them, right? I own queer, like nobody's business. Like if anyone asks me, I'm a lesbian queer, thank you. And I own the word, right? So like a lot of people have a hard time with it because it's kind of striking when you say I'm a psychic. They're like, ooh, really? You're one of those people. Mm-hmm. Or, if I say I'm queer, then it's like, what does that mean? You're either gay or lesbian. Like, what are you? Right. So there's just like all this labeling, but what is that? 100% what? I see that. But anyways, like
Crystal's trans.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So she's read me up. I think it's one of these like represents.
No, I was married to a trans woman. So like my wife was trans. So like I'm 100% queer. Like it's not you're gay or you're lesbian. Like I'm 100% queer. So when you own those terms, when you own those names, you give them the power that you see fit. So when I say psychic and when I say psychic medium, I'm giving it a meaning that means something to me.
Yeah, no, great. No, that's how you empower it. I get it. That's perfect.
So it's all about being empowered. And I want people to step into their power. So that is something that I work on.
I like that. Step into your power. I like that.
Step into your power. Say
I like that phrasing.
You probably say to other people, step into your power. What is wrong with stepping into your own power? Nothing.
No, it's actually, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Isn't that why we're here? Well, no, I understand that. I had a similar experience with the word. I mean, I have a philosophy degree, and I'm very much a philosopher in my lifestyle and my simplicity, and I'm sitting around and reading and contemplating and trying to find deeper truths and stuff like that. Yeah, when somebody asks you, what are you? And you say philosopher, that doesn't go very well. You know, they're like, what the hell does that mean? Should you be wearing a toga? Or something like that. So I understand what it means to take a term that is conventionally considered in some sort of a negative or dismissive way and kind of making it your own and making it empowered. Nowadays, I have no problem telling people I'm a philosopher. Absolutely. If they don't like it, they can go whatever.
I love that you're a philosopher. I know that I can learn so much from you. I already have, actually, just speaking with you. So it's kind of amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I love philosophy. And I learn a lot from you too, for sure. And I will try to, I mean, because I'm good, you know, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm good at reading tarot cards. I just am. And I've been good for a long time. And I mean, I've had people in tears because the reading's so meaningful and deeply meaningful. And the spot onness of it, you know, that's the psychic part. I just did one for a friend of mine. She's my ex-fiance, and I did one, and it was unbelievable. She's like, "How the hell did you do that?" You know, because it was just like so telling about her current situation. So maybe I'll start calling myself a psychic.
Maybe you should. Why not?
Maybe I should.
I would love to get a reading from you. I already told you this. We haven't even done it yet, and I'm a little bummed out about it.
We can do that. We can do that for sure. And then we can barter for something else. A friend of mine, actually, my high school best friend, about a month and a half ago, killed himself. And it was really, really hard. I mean, I haven't hung out with him in decades, but it was very difficult to deal with. So I might hit you up on something concerning that. How's that?
Absolutely.
So, okay. Let's talk about a little bit before we get to macabre here. We talked about the solstice. We talked about tarot cards a lot. And
you know what? More about the solstice. I can talk about, you know, the Sabbats, like whatever you want. I actually have, like, I was like, I need to be organized because then I go all over the place and then I can't like get my thoughts together. So I was like, I have a bullet point of things to remember.
Oh, right. Oh, we have absolutely. I'm going to talk a little bit about NLP, but I also want to talk about gods and goddesses at some point. Do you deal with? Let's do that real quick.
I have a couple of goddesses on my desk right here. I've got Danu, who's a Celtic goddess. She actually wears the symbol of my business, which is a Triskel. I just got this tattoo. I don't know if I showed it to you. I don't know if you can even see it because the Triskel that I have here.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, this is a beautiful tattoo and I love it. And I have my Metatron tattoo on this arm. Or wait, no, it's here. I'm like, which arm? So, but no, I have a few goddesses hanging out. I am definitely a daughter of Isis. I've worked with Isis since I was 13 years old. She is my mother.
She is my mother. I just recently upped my adoration of Isis considerably about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I got to
like daily prayers and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I just
yeah. Like I got to meet Isadora Forrest, who wrote that huge book. What is it?
Who is this?
Isadora Forrest or Isabella Forrest? What's her name?
I don't know who that is.
She is a priestess of Isis, and incredible. Can you look it up for me?
Yep.
And she wrote like a legendary book on the rituals of Isis and how to follow the fellowship of Isis. I actually got initiated in California as a shaman, but it was at the Temple of Isis. It's called Isis Oasis in California. I don't know if it's still out, if it's still like around. I actually really want to know if Isis Oasis is still open.
Is she a psychologist?
Isis Oasis. Are you talking about Isabella Forrest?
Oh, Isabella. I thought you said Isadora.
I think I said one of them. So Isabella Forrest.
No, I'm getting National Forest Preserves. Now I know Madame Blavatsky wrote a book on Isis.
Yeah, I know Madame Blavatsky did, definitely.
And I've been reading one. Let me find mine. This is like show and tell episode of Gadfly, folks.
That's okay. We're having fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see here. What's it?
So Pagan Portals, Isis, Great of Magic.
Yes.
She of 10,000 Names by Olivia Church. That's the one I've been reading. And she's actually I think she's a PhD in history or something like that. So this is like really
Isadora Forrest. I'm so sorry. So it's Isadora Forrest. I actually got to meet her at Oh Wow. You remember Oh Wow, right? Other Worlds of Wonder.
Oh no, that's cool.
Oregon.
No,
Other Worlds of Wonder. I don't know if that organization is still together. I know that I have one of the guys who ran Oh Wow on my Facebook. He's so awesome. I love him. But they had Isidore Forrester, and I got to carry the sun for an Isis ritual there.
Wow.
It was amazing. It
That's
was
very
so
cool.
cool. I got to be a priestess of Isis, and it was
That's
so
so awesome. I love that.
And the energy was just amazing. Like, this is so many years ago, and I just feel like I've forgotten half of like the adventures that I've been on with the goddess. But Isis woke me up when I was like 13 years old, so
Nice.
she's been with me forever. She's the guardian for me.
She's amazing. She really is. I noticed a difference in my energy, character of my energy since I started with the daily adoration Isis, for sure, 100%. She's definitely present. There's no doubt.
Do you do the pillar of light with her?
No, I just do. There's a series of prayers that I found that I say in the morning.
Yeah.
What's the pillar of light?
The pillar of light is really just kind of like an Isis activation where she comes in through the soul star chakra down the body. The Isis Oasis is still there, and Geyersville, California. Yay, thank you.
That's my Aunt Terry.
Hi.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for hanging out.
Isis is so amazing. Like, I need to go back there. Like, I need to live there. I wish somebody would just adopt me and be like, you can live here forever. but like, if you've never been, it's so beautiful. Like, it has like little ponds and lakes, and then there's like little lodges, and then there's temples everywhere, and they have like kind of like an underground crypt that you can explore, and they have like services every day that you could go and just participate in. And of course they have a gift shop, because like, what place wouldn't have one, right? Actually, this Isis that I have behind me came from that gift shop. I have 2 Isis statues in my house. I got one in my bedroom, and I have one out here.
Nice.
She's always with me everywhere. And then I have this wonderful Isis deck, this Oracle deck. Have you seen that?
I almost bought that. It's literally on my on my Amazon wish list right now.
You're like,
because I got like 8,000 tarot decks on my Amazon wish list. I don't know which one to get first. No, that's pretty cool.
This one.
So I noticed they made her extremely white for a Egyptian goddess.
I know.
I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason that I'm sure the deck is wonderful. But that was like, I remember I looked at it, I'm like, okay, there's no way that anybody in each was this white. That didn't happen.
I mean, I think the execution is not that bad.
Okay, all right.
I mean, they have a little bit of like.
I don't want to turn this into a racial issue. Okay, that's that.
No.
I just remember that. So like when I saw it, I was like, wow, she's pretty white for an ancient Egyptian goddess. So.
No, but I think these cards are so beautiful.
Oh, see, that's bad. It's a gorgeous deck. There's no doubt.
Yeah, this is a very, very gorgeous deck.
You know what?
It's one of my favorites, and I do love pulling cards from this deck. Oh my goodness, it is beautiful.
That makes me okay. So I've been wanting to buy something. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, you're gonna buy it right now.
No, not the deck. Something else.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna buy it right now.
No, I'm gonna buy this right now. This is a tapestry. Can you see it, Lilith?
Sort of.
It's not coming anyway. That's Isis up there, and it's surrounded by all these like Egyptian like deities and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
I'm gonna buy that right now and put it above my bed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm ordering it right now.
Right this second.
You're like, right, that's it. I'm doing it right now. Have you made Keefe yet?
No. I really got as far as morning adoration prayers.
Mm-hmm. So do you do the ritual with like the milk and the honey?
No. I say a prayer.
Okay. You're like, I just say a prayer. I was like, do you do milk and honey?
I wake up. And sometimes I forget. But I wake up, and when I remember, I say a prayer to Isis, and I have a very specific visualization I do go through, and she starts my day.
Yeah, I love to offer her milk and honey. I'll do it a few times a year. Sometimes, like if I want to do it whenever I have it, I'll do it. And I try to do it with real milk, but the problem with real milk is that I don't drink it because I'm lactose intolerant. So then it'll just go bad. So if there's milk in my house, I'll do it. I won't do the almond milk or anything like that. But
does it have to be, or should it be cow's milk?
It has to be cow's milk. Cows are sacred.
Oh yeah.
So it has to be cow's milk, and I want to honor that for her. So if I have honey, I'll do honey. I'll even do like raisins, like golden raisins are really good to do. And then I'll do like carnelian stones.
Are these just like offerings?
Yeah, these are like little offerings that you can give her, and it just aids in like communication with her. It's kind of like how I set up like a little altar for my spirit guides, right? So like with my spirit guides, I'll give them like whatever elemental thing that corresponds to like who they are. They tell me what they like. Maybe I'll just light a candle for them, or light an incense for them, or certain stones or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want a tattoo of her on me somewhere. I'm just trying to figure out where.
I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out.
She's just gorgeous. She's beautiful too. Her imagery is gorgeous, and how she went about reclaiming, resurrecting Osiris from the dead after his bad brother Set killed him, tore him to little shreds, and she invented the mummy and the mummification and all that.
Yeah, which is like literally that was the very first time I learned that story like in grammar school. It was really weird. It was like I had the dream, I woke up, I went to school, and then that's what we were talking about. I was like, what? What the heck? And it wasn't even like in the textbook. It was like this little book that I had, and I just couldn't even believe that that's what we were talking about the very next day in school. Like it blew my mind. And that's when, like, shortly after that, I got into like astral projection and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Just my life took off from there.
That's very cool. Yeah, she's a powerful source of energy for sure. And astral projection. Wow, I didn't know that you got into that. I did more than dabble in that quite a bit back in the day. All sorts of experimentations. Astral, I had an astral temple and everything like that. And what's really interesting, this I think testifies to the objective reality of these things, is that I constructed an astral temple a long time ago, like early mid 90s. And like when I didn't, because sometimes I can't build an altar and do rituals in it in a physical capacity. So I would just go in there and do it.
Right.
And that's a very powerful, very convenient, very efficient way of doing magic, is I just close my eyes and I go to my ritual temple and do my thing. But then I went away from that for a long time, years and years and years and years and years and years. And one night I went back to my temple, and it was exactly how I loved it. Nothing moved. I was like, holy shit! Like everything was exactly the same, and I hadn't been there in probably 2 decades.
Isn't that crazy?
It's awesome. My friend had a similar experience. We kind of did the whole occult magic thing together back in the 90s. And it kind of freaked us out a little bit because it's so real. And we kind of stepped away for a little bit so we could be like, okay, what the
let me get back to reality.
What just happened?
Yeah.
And he had a similar experience with his inner workings and stuff like that he went back a long time later and he said it was exactly the same. I'm like, dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. So for me, I have tunnels.
Oh, tunnels, bro. Yeah.
So when I astral project, I have tunnels, and these tunnels. So I've always known how to kind of like self-trance. Like self-trance has always been really easy for me. So when I learned hypnotherapy, when I wanted to go into trance, it was like, whoo, instant, so instant. Nice. It was crazy. Nice. So I have tunnels that I travel through, and these tunnels have been around since I was 13 years old. Like even when I'm not trying to think of these tunnels and build a new space, that's what comes back up for me. And through these tunnels, I'm actually able to get to my door to my Akashic records. So there's like a passageway, and then there's a hallway with the mirror of self. So when I'm doing shadow work, I can actually go in the mirror of self and face my fears in the astral realm if I need to. It's something I don't really talk about very often because people are like, really? Like you can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do that. So you can actually face your shadow in the astral realm as well.
Wow. Yeah, no, that'd be an intense experience. Facing your shadow self.
I was a little scared. The first thing
I would imagine. I mean, nobody knows how deep their dark side goes.
Yeah, I was a little scared. I actually have done shamanic journeys into my shadow self as well. I actually just listened to this recording the other day because I tend to go into a deep trance and just record everything that's happening. And then I'll sit back like a year later and listen to it. Like I won't listen to it after it happens because I'm like, I'm shook, like we're done. So like, like a year later, I'll go through all of my recordings, which are not labeled, and I'll just, Russian roulette one and push it. And then I'll listen to it, which is what happened to me the other day. And I'm here listening to this journey I went on. It was literally in the halls, and I went through a self-love journey at that time. And it was like I'm looking at my reflection, and it turns into this huge rock monster that's like quadruple the size of me. Like as I'm listening to myself go through this again, I'm like, I can see everything happening in my head, like clairvoyantly. Like it's almost like I'm living through it again because I completely forgot. And as I'm describing what's happening, I'm seeing it in my head. So it's like this huge like rock lava monster, and I was afraid at first, but I was like, wait a second, you want to talk to me? And he wouldn't talk to me. So I was like, okay, what is going on here? And as I'm looking around, I realized that like a piece of him is like poking through, and I see my skin tone, and I said, I bet you're me, aren't you? And coming closer, he looked like he was going to crush me. He looked like he was going to just crush me into pieces and, kill me. And I was like, I'm not going to be afraid. And I could feel my heart beating out of my chest. Like I felt like so scared. Like I wanted to run. That fight or flight just kicked in. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. But I didn't do that. I don't know if I could curse. Can I?
Yeah, why not?
I'm so sorry. I probably shouldn't curse on TikTok Live either. So sorry, guys. But like, I was like, I gotta get out of here. And so I deliberately, like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run. And then I was like, no, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna face this. I'm gonna face it. So I went and I faced him, and he was gonna like crush me. And I just remember like pulling pieces of rock off of him and like giving him this like white light energy until he like melted and like formed and transformed into like a dark version of me, like my dark goddess version, which I've always been afraid of. Like I was always afraid of like the dark side of myself.
It can be frightening for sure. I've confronted my dark side, and it's there's a potency there that it can be overwhelming, and you got to be careful. But we all have it. I mean, we
all have a dark side.
Carl Jung said, "Whatever object has light shone upon it, behind it will always be a shadow."
Correct.
So yeah, I mean that's very witty, very clever way of putting it.
No, it's absolutely correct though.
Absolutely.
What I think is like for my shadows, it was very difficult for me. Like I'm not saying it wasn't difficult for you because everybody's shadow is very difficult to like penetrate and go through. But my shadows were really hard because I went through a lot of like emotional abuse, a lot of like psychological abuse, a lot of like molestation, things like that. So it was like really crazy to see that. And like that was my heart wall, so to speak. So it was part of like my deepest fears were to get closer to people or let people know who I was. My deepest fears were, and I found all of this out just visiting myself in an astral realm, finding out all of my deeper fears. Like I'm afraid of getting close to people because I feel like they're going to die. I'm afraid of,
interesting.
Yeah. I had this major fear that if I let anybody in my life, they were going to freaking die. Right. Because I could predict death when I was younger. So that was one of the things that always scared me. My mom would get on my case about it and yell at me. I would predict
Stop predicting death.
She's like, don't do that. Don't do that. You cannot tell people they're going to die. How am I supposed to know? I'm a little kid, right? I'm a little kid. How am I supposed to know that you're not supposed to tell people that they're going to die? I have no common sense.
I don't know how you would know that.
Like I have no common sense. I'm about 6 or 7 years old, like, and you're yelling at me about that, right? Like I predicted my my grandfather. I predicted my father. I predicted my uncle. I knew when my wife was going to pass away. Like I looked at her and I was like, wow. Like I knew. Right. So it's just over the years, as I did this, I just kind of remember always being told, you can't do that. I've been possessed as a younger child, but that was because we were in a place where there was like some really interesting activity going on, and we lived in a building. Did I tell you that we lived in Chicago, uptown? and I lived in the Sheridan Plaza,
Oh, wow.
right next to Japuza, the Jesus People.
Jesus People USA. I know them.
Yes,
I used to go to Cornerstone. It was like right down the
Cornerstone. Yes, I
street
lived
from my
right.
house. Oh, I used to go
Yes.
there all the time. Yeah.
So that big tall building on the corner of Broadway. Well, is it Broadway? No, it's Sheridan.
That's not a very good part of town.
No, but that was where Al Capone
Ooh,
owned all of those buildings.
I like that.
Al Capone owned every last one of those buildings down there. If you look up Uptown history, you'll find that Al Capone owned those buildings. And there was always like, we lived on the 12th floor. And in the elevator, you could tell it looked like there was actually 13 floors, but they wiped out that 13. Like, cool. So technically we were in apartment 1313 because it was 1213.
Come on.
Was the apartment. I'm not lying.
I believe you. That's awesome.
But I was in apartment 1213, and I had several times where spirits would come in the middle of the night, and I would walk, and we were on the 12th floor. So, and our windows actually opened. Tell me why one night my mother told me that I actually got up in the window, ready to jump out the window. Like literally, I had the window open, the wind is blowing, I'm on the 12th floor, standing at this window. My mom said she was so freaked out. She couldn't yell at me. She couldn't scream because she didn't want me to like freak out and fall out the window. So she was saying that, and it was dark. So she didn't want to turn on the lights. She was like sleeping on a pull-out mattress because my little brother was like just born. Like he was just born. And so she didn't want to wake him up. So she's like, okay, I slowly like crouched towards you and like, hey, it's okay. You can come down from the window sill. My mom was freaking out. When she got me out of the window sill, like, I don't remember what happened, but I do remember my mom telling me the story over and over again of like what I did. Like the next day, I didn't remember it. But she took me and she was like, okay, everything's okay. Can you go to bed? And she was like, are you all right? And I would like look at her. She was like, it looked like you had no life in your eyes. And I'm holding on to you, but you're not responding. And you walk back into the back room like nothing happened, right into your bedroom. And I was freaked out for the rest of the night, she says. And she stayed up the whole night watching me. There was a couple of times where I actually ended up sleepwalking to the park or sleepwalking. I don't really know.
No, I understand. Yeah.
It wasn't really sleepwalking.
Right.
I woke up in the park, or there was times where like my mom told me I had like superhuman like stuff happening where I would run through the house in the middle of the night, but I was still sleeping and jump completely over the pull-out bed, like with no trouble. Right. So we knew that there was activity in that house because there was too many weird things that would happen. Too many weird things that like you could not, like when you want to talk about paranormal, like, and I was told all my life that it was evil. Like, no, you know, right. You can't be messing with spirits. You can't be, you know, psychic. You can't be doing that. You can't be telling people that they're going to die. But I didn't know. And, the one thing that really got my mom, it was right before my mom had my little brother. She made a turkey, a big turkey. Like we're not talking about like just a breast or whatever, or a leg. She made a full entire freaking turkey. And she went into labor and took the turkey out of the oven and left it on the stove, right? Because she was in labor. She didn't think about putting the turkey away. She was like, oh my God, I'm just going to leave it on the stove. So we go to the hospital. We're all rushed to the hospital. My mom, like it was like the very next day after my mom had my little brother. She tells my uncle to go back to the apartment to go check up on it. She was like, oh my God, I left the turkey out. He goes back and he calls her at the hospital. He goes, you ate that turkey. What are you talking about? And she goes, what do you mean I ate the turkey? She was like, he goes, there's nothing left. The bones are clean. There's nothing on this turkey. We didn't even get to eat it. I think maybe I stole a little piece off of the side of the turkey, but we never actually ate the turkey. When we came back, it was completely gone. We didn't have any animals in the house to eat it. We didn't have rats. There were no mice. There was no explanation for that turkey to be gone. No explanation. Wow. My mom's like, I don't understand it. Like my uncle's like, I'll take a Kodak picture of it and show it to you, right? Like we didn't have any like digital cameras at the time. I'll show you. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. She was like, leave it on the counter because I don't believe you. She was like, and then I just remember her saying, I bet he ate it. I bet he ate it. But like, when we went back there to the apartment, I remember specifically she was freaked out because if my uncle would have eaten that turkey, there would have been something left. The bones would not have been perfectly put together and clean.
Right.
Right? Like, who leaves a turkey perfectly clean like that? Like, it looked like it was like someone sanded it down and there was like no meat on it. It was insane. It was the cleanest thing I ever seen. It was the most insane thing that ever happened. But that was like my first like paranormal experience, so to speak. So my mom became like obsessed with aliens after that. That was like her thing.
Oh, really?
Like, I think aliens are coming to get you. So my mom would be like super obsessed with like aliens and watch all the ghost hunter shows and all this stuff. She was like, yeah. She'd be looking out the window. She was like, you see that?
See that star? That's an alien.
Mom. Like, I was like so skeptic, but yeah. That's where it started. Like with my real psychic ability really started then. And then it got shut down because my mom was like, you can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that. I think I got really afraid when I predicted my wife's death. Like, I was like, oh my God. When I predicted that, then I was like, nope, get it out of my head. Nope, I'm projecting. Sure. Nope, get it out of my head.
No, that could be a huge burden. Just
It was rough. It was rough. When she passed away, I was like, I fucking knew it. Oh, excuse my language. I was like, I effing knew it, and it broke me. I was broken. Like, it broke me into pieces. But after a while, I was like, you know what? None of this was my fault. I knew it was going to happen. I know the rules of the universe. I could not tell her this. Like, I could not say to her that this would happen. Right. Like, I could not say that. Like, I know the rules of the universe. I follow them, you know, to the T as much as I possibly can. And I don't want to change other people's fate, you know? Now that I know better, obviously. But like, it took me like years to really heal from that. And I legit, like, I spent a lot of time doing shadow work. So I would do like physical shadow work where I'm sitting here asking myself the questions that I need to ask to like get rid of these things. Like, how can I solve this? Like, what do I need to know in order to feel okay again? How can I get back my power? Like, you know, all these things. And then I took the actual spiritual journey as well, where I went into a deep, deep trance. I would literally fast for days. And I'm like, I'm fasting. I'm not touching food. Like, I'm just going to drink water. I'm going to be in this state where I'm going to heal myself. Like, I did this again when I came out of like the relationship I was in like for 4 years with this narcissist that I was with. She was like so mentally abusive that like when I came out of it, I didn't know which end was up. Right. And so I really dug into like my mental processes, and I really dug into my spiritual self to like find myself. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for the fact that I did work, and doing that spiritual journey was like mind-blowing. And I keep doing them. Like, I don't stop doing them. Like, if I have trouble with my business, I'm like, I'm going to do spiritual work and go to the spirit world for my business. Like, I'm going to go, like, I do it for everything. I will visit the spirit world when I'm doing intuitive healing. If people look at my website, I do very deep intuitive healing, and I'll use all the tools I have, every last one of them, whether it's witchcraft, psychic ability. I always do psychic abilities with my deep, deep spiritual healing, because your body has things to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so your chakras will speak. I let them speak in first person. I like your auric field will speak, and I let your auric field speak in first person. Your overall energy, what you're holding, what's blocking you in whatever area of life. And then I ask whatever deities or angelic beings or gods or goddesses that resonate with you. Sorry, I wanted to see if my cat was like into something that resonate with you, and I use them to help heal you. So not only am I using Reiki, but I'm doing it in a very intuitive way. I've been called by a couple of astrologers an extractor. I tend to extract things from the human body that we hold on to that are not necessary, which is why I can travel in and out of the spirit realm so easily.
Wow. Well, that's a great ability to have. That probably helps a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Absolutely. So I work really hard, like, to just make sure that I use every single ability I have, whether it's like casting a spell. If I need to cast a spell, we're casting a spell. If I need something from you, I'm getting it from you so that we can heal this and do the work that we need. I've been able to like banish spirits, cleanse houses, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And being legal clergy is awesome because then you can actually go into people's houses and do rites of passage and things like that. So I've done hand fastings and wickenings and all sorts of things.
Very cool. So Mary Paoletti is here. Mary, how are you?
Hi,
She's
Mary.
asking, how does someone contact her/them?
Her, them, you mean me?
I'm thinking she means goddesses or people of the spirit world.
Or the goddesses?
I think she means the spirit world.
Mary,
be more specific. What do you mean by that? Her, them?
Yeah, who do you want to contact? And while we're just waiting for that, I'll just keep talking. So yeah, that was my whole entire thing into just being psychic, my spiritual realm. Like I've always been surrounded by, like, my whole life is spirituality. My whole life is witchcraft and rituals, and every single day I like wake up and meditate and do my prayer to my goddess and all these things. So I'm constantly living it. I don't know if I showed you this before, but you see where the Ankh is up there in the back?
Yep.
That is, and there is a Gohanzan. Do you know what a Gohanzan is?
I do not.
That is that's Buddhist. It's like, I'm not supposed to have on camera, otherwise I would open it up and show it to you. But I've been chanting for, oh my God, how many years? 6 years.
Is that the chance?
No, it's the nominal Horenge.
Oh, no, my hair. Yeah, okay, that's okay. Like, there's some Buddhist monks that have that. Like, I know that seemed like I was being silly and mocking. I'm not. That's actually, they're actually able to blend notes together in a way that, like, you can't do otherwise. Like, it's actually quite amazing. Yeah. But okay, so there's the.
Oh, hi. Yeah, Mary.
Okay, so she wants to contact you. She wasn't sure what pronouns you use. That's why she said that.
Yeah. So I will go by her, she. I'm her, she, but I am queer. So I thank you for like being so nice and respecting that so much. So anyways, like, you can contact me a few different ways. I'm on Facebook as Lilith Silvercrow with a K. So SILVERKROW, Lilith Silvercrow. That is my regular Facebook. Feel free to message me through there, or you can actually get a hold of me on lovenatureandbeyond.com. So www.lovenatureandbeyond.com. You can actually find me on TikTok. I am constantly on TikTok. That is at Lilith Callista Silvercrow. And those are the ways that I answer messages. Or you can actually email me directly as well. And that's just lovenatureandbeyond@gmail.com. Thank you for typing all that stuff in. Thank you.
Okay, cool. There you go. There it is. I don't know why it's coming up twice.
That's spelled wrong. It's Callista, Callista.
Oh, you said with a K and that.
Oh no, Silvercrow with a K.
Got stuck in my head.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Like Callista Flockhart.
Callista.
Oh, 2 L's. All right.
Yeah. You got this. There you go. You got this. You can do it.
The algorithm in TikTok will get you to her.
Right. And I'm about to reboot my YouTube channel. Like, when I first started YouTube, man, I wanted to do just tarot so bad, tarot and oracle, and it's so horrible. Like, I had a terrible camera, like, it was bad. So I'm gonna reboot it, but I'm gonna talk instead, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
And maybe I'll pull cards every month or do like the tarot challenge on YouTube or whatever, but like, probably no more of me trying to do that top down like tarot reading thing, because I'm so bad at it.
What do you mean the top down tarot reading?
You know, where you just see the fingers and people are talking about like tarot, like general readings and things that. I used to be really good at those, but like the camera was really bad and stuff like that. But I'm gonna reboot my wonderful YouTube at some point and I'm not going to delete the videos. Everybody goes through a journey. Let people see my journey. Will not judge myself.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's healthy. Yeah, no, that's very cool. You should do stuff like that. I think you would definitely be into that.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to do a channel about like psychic development and a channel about just like how I celebrate my holidays and like how I get prepared. Like someone actually asked me the other day to do a TikTok video on how I get prepared to do sessions with people. Or how I prepare to do magic or set up for ritual. And I'm like, yeah, it's all the same for me. I do all the same thing when I'm sitting down with a person or doing a healing session or doing a ritual. It's all the same things. Maybe I'm projecting it differently. Like I will cast a magic circle around my space, or if I'm doing a healing session, I make sure that I am protecting my auric field, which is the same thing. It's just a magic circle on your body as opposed to like the ground in your environment. That's the only difference, right? So I try my best to show all that. Like I want to do a video like that. I think I want to do a long form for YouTube maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Might be interesting.
That'd be very interesting for sure. Absolutely. Well, okay, it's 8:15. We went 15 minutes past the hour.
I had no idea.
No, that's fine. I can go all night if it need be, but usually I advertise it at 7 to 8. So, so yeah, no, and we still have so much more to talk about. We didn't even talk about NLP.
No, we can talk about it. Like if we want to stay on, we can. If you're ready to go, we can. Like whatever you want.
We can talk. Let's talk about NLP for just a few minutes here. But go ahead. Neuro-linguistic programming. Go ahead.
So I am certified as a neuro-linguistic program person specialist practitioner, like person specialist practitioner. It's actually, so NLP is masterful. I think it's all about mental mastery. I love NLP so much because it has changed my life. Like not only do I have the spiritual side to look at, but I have the mental mastery side. And in NLP, we have internal representations, the way that we see things, the programs that are ran in our brain, how we speak, how we communicate, whether it's body language, whether it's our, the way we hear things or see things and process things through our senses, right? So we have that perception. So this is one of the reasons why I teach psychic development with NLP, because it goes hand in hand, right?
Nice.
Right? It literally goes hand in hand. I also teach NLP with spirituality because I believe it goes hand in hand, because if a person can't wrap their mind around how to change the way that they're thinking in order to get to the state that they want to be, that's where NLP comes in and flips that for that person. So I find that I'm super effective at eliminating negative emotions. Literally, I can eliminate negative emotions. I also practice time techniques, which means that we're going to quantum jump and go back to a time when, and we're going to rearrange that emotion and that point of view that you have and change that whole entire energy. So sometimes I'll use like Reiki during a time technique session. And it's so powerful. Like a person comes out and they're just like, wow, I feel different. I had a person who had like an anger management problem, and they contacted me and they're just like, I haven't been angry. Like this and this to me. And usually I fly off the handles. I'm not angry.
That's amazing. That's great.
So the good thing about it is that people go back. And so it's really me talking to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind will take you back. And then we use energy to just change a situation or eliminate something. And so you can take a lesson that you've learned and bring it back with you to the future. So your subconscious understands it and your energy understands it. So you're in alignment with the new person that you've become at that moment. So it's really powerful. That's also part of NLP. I also do like emotional freedom techniques, the tapping. I do major anchoring states. I really, truly believe that anchoring is so powerful in witchcraft. Anchoring, it's an NLP practice, but anchoring is so powerful for witchcraft. Anchoring is so powerful for getting into a state and keeping that state. So like if you're trying to raise energy and you're used to raising energy and you don't have time to raise that energy, anchor that energy in a part in your body. So
what is anchoring?
So anchoring is a technique where you can take any energy you want, any emotion you want, and you can actually attach it to a part of the body. So literally what you're going to do. So in layman terms, let's say you want to feel excited and satisfied. Let's say you want to feel joyful and happy. I actually have an anchor right here that I pull, and you have to pull it the same exact way every single time. But I have an anchor for motivation and joy and happiness. And every time I need that motivation, joy, and happiness, I think of a time, I step into a time where my body, I know that there's a time where I'm feeling the most confident, the most happy, the most excited, the most motivated. And I go back into that time and I feel what I feel, I see what I see, I hear what I hear. And then as soon as I get to that peak of the emotion, I actually anchor that emotion for 10 to 15 seconds at the height of the emotion. And as soon as that emotion in my body drops, I let it go. And you can just stack that anchor over and over again. So now every time I just fire it off one time, wait, the emotion triggers through the body. So you can do this for virtually anything. I teach my students in the psychic development class that if you anchor a trance state, you can get back into the trance state very quickly if you anchor it somewhere on your body.
Oh, very cool.
So I'm trying to teach people how to do things like where your brain is attached, like you're thinking about it. You actually physically can think about like how you process information. So how do you process normal everyday information versus how do you process like psychic information that's coming in, spirit information that's coming in? What is your body doing? How does your body respond? So the more you're aware of that, the more access to the psychic realm that you have. So that's why I use NLP, like all the different techniques. Then we can build strategies. Building strategies is amazing because everybody runs a different program for different things. So let's say your strategy for being motivated sucks, right? Like you only motivated because someone just made you mad, someone just pissed you off, and you're like, okay, I'm motivated to do things. But like every other day, you can't get motivated. You have to wait for that person to piss you off. That's not a good strategy, do you think?
Yes. I think that is not a good strategy. Yes.
It's not a good strategy. So what we do is we think about, okay, so what other things make you motivated in your life? And where can we find something that you've done before that we can bring into the forefront so that your mind remembers what it feels like to be motivated without being aggravated by the other person? So we find that and then we practice and we run that strategy over and over and over again until the person's like, oh yeah. And then we anchor that state. And then we collapse whatever was there previously before. So it's called a collapsing anchor. So we get you into the state that you want to be, and we anchor that state and we keep you there. So then when you're ready and you're procrastinating, something your mind's going to trigger and be like, oh crap, I'm procrastinating. Let me fire off my anchor. And the anchor will bring that motivation through the body.
Very cool. Wow.
We've just reprogrammed ourselves to not procrastinate. Because now we have the trigger that says you're procrastinating right now. What are you doing right now that is not serving you?
Right.
Right. So that's another technique that I like to use. I talk about submodalities a lot. How do I use that in my psychic class? I use submodalities to help people tune into their psychic senses. If you have a hard time visualizing, we use a different modality. So if you're primarily, like we do kind of a test to find out if you're primary auditory digital, which is self-talk. If you're kinesthetic, which means that you feel things, or if you're visual or auditory. So let's say if you're not a visual person, but you need to be visual so you can have visions, right? How do you get there? Well, a lot of people tend to get there through hearing. So they get there through audio. Right? So if they're getting there through audio, we can talk to them. But let's say maybe they need to get to visual and they can only feel. What other modalities can we stack on top of that? So we have to find out what the strategy is to get there. Is it that I need to talk to you and make you feel an emotion so that you can see the thing? Or like, how does that work? So we break down strategies so that we can update how you see things. So it's very, very powerful. People who could not see things before are able to have visions now.
Wow.
I will hypnotize people. I'm very good at hypnotism. I have to tell you, I smoked cigarettes for over 16 years, and I quit last year on December 27th.
Congratulations.
And I failed because I only quit for 4 months. I failed terribly. And it was because I quit for somebody else and not myself.
Right.
So I was like, December 27th of this year, that's it. I'm quitting. Actually, I started on the 26th. I recorded myself a hypnotherapy track that I created for quitting, for becoming a non-smoker instead of quitting. Because if you say quitting, like your subconscious mind is like,
loser.
Quitting makes you sound like a loser.
Nobody likes a quitter.
Right. So if you tell, I know, right? So if you tell your subconscious mind, like, I'm gonna quit, like your brain's like, you're a freaking loser. Like who quit? Like you're a loser. So I was like, I'm gonna become a non-smoker. So I made this like recording, and I literally listened to it once, and I had the last 3 cigarettes in my pack, and I never touched them ever since.
Wow. Okay. Well, good for you. That's great.
So I haven't gone to the store. I have no cigarettes hanging around. Like totally done with that. Like we're done.
Well, that's great. You know, I smoke cigarettes, but I only smoke like a pack and a half a week. It's not like to the point where I'm worried about it. That's saying
a day.
What's that?
Half a pack a day.
Yeah, no, that's I couldn't do that. I'd never been able to do that.
That's what I said when I quit the first time. When I quit the first time, I only smoked like maybe 3 cigarettes in a day, 4 maybe. But then when I started back up, I was literally a chain smoker.
Yeah, no, I can't.
It was nuts.
Chain smoking is disgusting. I remember I quit once before just because, and all I did is I remember I waited until my body just severely craved a cigarette, and then I would have one. Yeah. And it's amazing how much you can reduce your smoking in like that if you do that, because like a lot of it's just habitual or psychological. Like just wait until your lungs are like, give me some damn smoke, and then go ahead and smoke. I went from like whatever it was, a half pack a day to like 2 a day, like that.
Yeah. Like
my body just didn't crave. And now I can go. I haven't smoked a cigarette. What's today? Wednesday. I think Saturday or Sunday I had a cigarette. Like I can go days without it, not a problem. I smoke when I drink.
Yeah.
That's when I smoke.
Smoker. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so like I'm gonna go in my garage after this. I'm gonna drink some wine, and I'll probably have a couple cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch it. And I'm gonna watch. Yeah, I'm gonna watch basketball. So
nice.
And this is way past your bedtime.
It is past my bedtime. You know,
you're an early bird.
I know, but I actually slept in today on purpose so that I wouldn't be tired for tonight.
Oh, good.
I did work all day though. I did work the whole entire day.
Well, you seem like you're peppy.
I'm peppy now because I had a good dinner.
Nice.
And I worked out this morning. It was all good. Today has been a fabulous day, even though Microsoft sucks.
For another time. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Lilith Silvercrow. Love Nature and Beyond. Everybody check her out. She's the real deal, and she is amazing. She has a lot to offer. So yeah, for sure. Thank you to Lou, Crystal, Terry, Mary, and whoever else is watching, whose name I don't see. Thank you for tuning in tonight. That was great. Thank you all for tuning into the Gadfly. I'm your host, David Rich. See you next time.
See ya. Bye.